10 greatest architecture cities in the world. Number 10. New York. New York and its skyline got a new look from 2006 to 2015 while One World Trade Center was being built. Completed in 2013 and opened on May 29, 2015, the tower is the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere and the 6th tallest in the world. It serves as the most recent reminder of the great architecture that is littered throughout the Big Apple. The Empire State Building is famous throughout the world and stands 1,454 feet from the ground to its tip. The American International Building is the tallest complete building in Lower Manhattan, while 8 Spruce Street was created by Frank Gehry and is an iconic residential building with a winding, beautiful design. There are hundreds of amazing skyscrapers in the city, as well as a great variety of astounding museums. The cylindrical Guggenheim was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art, or the Met, is the largest art museum in the United States. Yankee Stadium was built in 2009 with a total cost of $2.3 billion and replaced the original Yankee Stadium. Madison Square Garden is the home of the New York Knicks and is one of the most well-known sports stadiums in the world. Number 9. Beijing. Steeped in history, Beijing is a great architectural blend of the past, present, and future. The most prominent structure in all of China is the Great Wall, which runs throughout the country and took hundreds of years to construct. For traditional Chinese architecture, the Forbidden City consists of 980 traditional Chinese-style buildings that were built in the early 1400s. It was designated a World Heritage Site in 1987 and is the largest collection of preserved ancient wooden structures on the planet. The Beijing National Stadium, or Bird's Nest, was designed for the 2008 Summer Olympics and will be used in the 2022 Winter Olympics. The building is breathtaking and a majestic sight, but lies mostly unused. Currently, the tallest building in the city is the China World Trade Center Tower 3, which reaches 1,093 feet high, making it the 33rd tallest building in the world. However, it will be overtaken by China Zun, which is currently under construction and will reach a height of 1,732 feet upon its completion. Number 8. Barcelona. Though he passed away in 1926, Antoni Gaudi's unique influence and architectural works are still felt all over the city. His designs are prominent amongst the city. He created Casa Vicens in the 1880s for a wealthy family who owned a ceramics factory. La Pedrera is a beautiful residential building that looks more like a work of art than a building. His style shines through in the interior and the roof. His usual blend of eye-catching colors is most prominently on display at Park Güell. Of course, not everything in the city was designed by Gaudi. The Hospital of the Holy Cross and St. Paul was developed between 1901 and 1930 and served as a hospital until 2009 when a new hospital was erected next to it. It became a museum and cultural center that opened in 2014. The Torre Akbar, a 38-story skyscraper, was designed by French architect Jean Nouvel and is one of the most well-known examples of phallic architecture in the world. Number 7. Prague. Most European capital cities were rebuilt during the 18th and 19th century. Luckily, Prague was just a provincial town during this period, and many of its Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque-era structures remain intact to this day. The Clementinum represents one of the largest collections of historical buildings in all of Europe and includes the Old Town Square, which is breathtaking. The square contains the Prague Horloge, the oldest astronomical clock still in operation, the St. Nicholas Church, and the Gothic Church of Our Lady Before Time, which has been the main church of the square since the 14th century. Originally built in 970, the Prague Castle has changed a lot throughout the years and is the biggest ancient castle in the world today. The St. Vitus Cathedral holds the tombs of 3 Bohemian kings and many saints. The cathedral was started in 1344 and wouldn't be finished for over 525 years. While reminders of the ancient past lie everywhere, there are also plenty of contemporary and modern structures, as well as a slew of great artwork throughout Prague, and the Prague Zoo, one of the top 10 zoos on Earth. Number 6. Chicago. Frank Lloyd Wright is one of the more famous and influential architects of the last century. Luckily for Chicago, Wright spent many of his early years living near the city and took an apprenticeship with the Chicago firm under Louis Sullivan, the father of skyscrapers. Wright designed Robbie House between 1908 and 1910, and it's known as the greatest example of prairie school style. Emil Bach, co-owner of a brick company, liked Wright's work so much that he had Wright build him this beautiful house in the Rogers Park neighborhood. The Willis Tower, formerly the Sears Tower, was the tallest building in the world when it was completed in 1973, passing the World Trade Center at the time. The Trump International Hotel and Tower, Aon Center, and the John Hancock Center also famously dot the Chicago skyline. Number 5. Rome. Built in 72 AD, the Colosseum is mostly damaged today, but is still one of the best works of Roman architecture ever created. Its design is so perfect that it's still utilized in amphitheaters to this day. In its heyday, the structure could hold up to 80,000 spectators. Of course, plenty has happened in the city since the Colosseum was built. Rome is regarded as the epicenter of Baroque architecture, and many of the town's Baroque squares were constructed in the 17th century and still contain some incredible buildings. St. Peter's Basilica was completed in 1626 and is an excellent example of Baroque Renaissance architecture. For an impressive modern design, the Arapakis Museum lies on the banks of the Tiber River, and its contemporary design ensures that no one will mistake it for being a part of the city's ancient history. The Maxi Museum took 10 years to build before it was finally completed in 2009. The remarkable structure was well worth the wait. Number 4. Bilbao. Bilbao may not be as well known internationally as Madrid or Barcelona, but its architecture is world-renowned, and the Spanish city has a great variety of beautiful buildings both modern and from the past. The Guggenheim Museum was designed by renowned Canadian architect Frank Gehry and was inaugurated in 1997. The San Mamés Stadium was opened in 2013 and will be one of 13 venues to host matches for Euro 2020, and won an award for the Sports Building of the Year at the World Architecture Festival in 2015. The Cathedral of St. James is a Gothic-style church that was built during the 14th to 15th century, as was the Church of St. Anthony the Great. The latter church is featured along with the San Anton Bridge on the city's coat of arms. Number 3. Berlin. The building was originally opened in 1894 and remained open until 1933 when a young Dutch communist set the structure on fire. After World War II, the building fell into disuse and disrepair for years. Potsdamer Platz was a famous intersection that became separated by the Berlin Wall in 1961. When the wall fell, the intersection became an important place, both architecturally and symbolically, and some of the world's finest architects were asked to design its remarkable buildings, including the Bond Tower, the Kolkhof Tower, the Sony Center, and the Daimler Complex. Number 2. Dubai. The Arab city's most popular building has to be Burj Khalifa, as it dominates the skyline, towering 2,723 feet above the ground. It's the tallest building in the world, so of course, it's going to be very well known. But there are plenty of other buildings in Dubai that are equally as breathtaking. Erected just across the street from the Burj Khalifa, the address downtown has remarkable exterior lighting and a unique asymmetric design concept. The two are separated by the largest choreographed fountain system on the planet, the Dubai Fountain. The Burj Al Arab is a sail-like structure that is home to one of the most luxurious hotels in the world, and a helipad at the top that has hosted a number of stunts, including a made-for-TV tennis match between Roger Federer and Andre Agassi. Standing just over 1,000 feet high, the Cayenne Tower is the most awe-inspiring sight in the Dubai Marina, with a 90-degree twist that is hard to fathom. Dubai is one of the most modern cities in the world, so there's not a lot of historical or traditional buildings, but the Al Fahidi historical neighborhood is still a good place to see some traditional Arab architecture and to get a feel of what the area was like a century ago. Number 1. Athens. In ancient Greece, Athens was the heart of the mighty empire, and its people's greatest architecture was erected within its borders. The Acropolis, an ancient citadel, overlooks the city and contains the Parthenon, the Erechtheion, and the Propylae. At the foot of the Acropolis lies the ancient Theater of Dionysus, which, when it started being used in the 6th century, could hold as many as 17,000 people. Its acoustics were remarkable, especially because it was the first stone theater ever built. While most of these ancient structures are at least partially damaged, the city is a must-visit for any aspiring architect or history lover. The Acropolis Museum lies on the southeastern slope of the Acropolis Hill, just 310 yards away from the Parthenon. First opened in June of 2009, the museum holds around 4,000 objects found in and around the Acropolis.